I really hope you guys aren't serious, right? Like, I really hope you guys aren't serious about this skin. So essentially, LEGO Ninjago just dropped a collab with Fortnite, right? And their LEGO counterparts has a actual skin in Fortnite, which now we can actually see the race of these characters because the LEGO skin is just yellow. And I haven't really checked Reddit or Twitter yet. You know how they be over there. But there is just no way y'all care about LEGO Ninjago that much. Right? I grew up on LEGO Ninjago, right? I grew up on LEGO Ninjago. And I honestly don't even care what race these characters are, but it's clear that Cole is South Asian, right? Like, this is a Fortnite collab. This doesn't necessarily mean that this is the canon counterpart inside the actual show, right? So I deadass really hope that no one is actually complaining about this skin. Like, I swear, the moment a character is depicted with any type of darker skin complexion, people just start complaining out of nowhere. Like, they've always cared about this show, even though they damn well haven't heard about this show for like 10 plus years. Or the newer generation never even heard of what Ninjago is. But hey, the skins are clean though.
Christopher George should be Kratos. Let's get into it. Do I believe in race swapping roles? If a character was originally white, should we make them black out of nowhere? No, I don't. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but no, I don't. Let me explain further. If you grew up watching a character that was nailed down to a specific race, you're always going to want to see them that way. So no, I don't think every single person who is not okay with a race swap of any character is racist. I think that they grew up watching the character that specific way, and they have the right to see that character that specific way. And they also have the right to not like that character if it's not the original character. Because I know right now, if they made Batman black, people would fucking lose their goddamn minds. So for every single race community, black community, Asian community, so on and so forth, what should we do to fix this whole thing of, hey, I want someone who can represent me? Easy. Let's give the black characters in comic books who haven't got any notoriety some fucking movies. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about Black Panther, but he's just an example. Or better yet, let's make our own black characters. Because personally, I'm not a big fan of race swapping either. But then again, I never grew up watching The Little Mermaid, so I don't give a fuck. On a different note, people who are sending this lady death threats and shit like that are fucking stupid. There really is no point in doing some stupid shit like that. Anyway, moving on. When I said that we should make Christopher Judge Kratos, it wasn't because, oh, I just want a black man to be Kratos, because that's what everyone thought I was saying. No, he's the voice actor for Kratos. He's also the motion capture for Kratos. He also has the same build as Kratos. Not to mention, if they made a live action, the voice actor for Atreus can literally play his own character because they look literally the same. They literally copied and pasted it. I really don't give a fuck about Christopher Judge being black. I'm not saying that he has to be Kratos because he's black. I'm just saying that it's good casting because you can literally just douse his whole body in baby powder or paint or some shit like that. And it's not whiteface because this isn't him being white. Those are the ashes of his family. I have to keep going over that bullshit. But that's how I feel about race swap.
Definitely race swap superheroes as long as their race isn't extremely important to their character. For example, I would argue Peter Parker. I don't think his race has a huge bearing on who he is as Spider-Man. So if you wanted to change that for whatever reason, I totally think you could. And Wolverine is one that I also feel that way about. I don't think that there's anything about Wolverine's race or background that can't be expanded upon, that can't be added to add to his character. Now, there are characters that I don't think you can change. Obviously, Black Panther is a big one. His race, his cultural background is something that's very important to his character. The same with Storm from the X-Men. But I would also argue you can't change Professor X. His growth, his upbringing of being white, being someone of privilege, of wealth, really dictates a lot of his character traits going forward. His arrogance, him thinking that he always knows what the best answer is, him sometimes not being able to always understand that he might be hurting people more than he's helping, comes from that background. So that's very important. Now, I wouldn't mind seeing a different version of Professor X from a different race or a different cultural background, but I do think that's important to his character.
People only hate race swapping when it's white to black, not the other way around. Now that's the harsh, honest truth, isn't it? Absolutely the truth. Because this character Thunderball, who's a part of the Wrecking Crew, who has always been black in the comics, in live action was depicted by this man. And this is not old. This is about 1.5 years ago in She-Hulk. And no one said anything. And that's because Thunderball's race wasn't necessarily tied into his character. And he's a character we just don't really care about. As soon as I make a post about Wendell Pierce playing Perry White, outrage starts. Like literal outrage in my comments. And this guy has to be the least relevant main character in the Superman series. And his race is not tied into his character whatsoever. Wendell is going to do an amazing job playing him, and there was outrage. Now, I'm not a massive fan of race swapping. I do believe that at some points it could be pandering to an extent, and I also believe that representation should be given to characters that were built to represent that culture. Because there are instances where I believe race swapping was only done for headlining. But at the end of the day, if the character's race doesn't tie into the character, it's not that big of a deal. And even if I don't see it in a character, I'm not outraged about it. I'm not going on a rant in people's comments and spreading hatred about it because the character's race is now different. But when a character turns black, oh, that happens very heavily. And seeing all that hatred, that's what makes me want to defend it instead of going against it. But I find this interesting. Pedro Pascal is going to be playing Reed Richards. I also did an announcement on this. And before I announced it, I wondered if people were going to be upset about this. I love Pedro Pascal. I know he's going to do an amazing job at this role. But at the end of the day, he's not a white American. In all honesty, I'm happy that people aren't mad about it. But at the end of the day, it's still race swapping. And where was the rage from the, we just want the character to stay the same people? Pedro Pascal is Chilean, South American country of Chile, Spanish-speaking, Latino descent. And I was seeing people say he was the only casting that they were happy about. And Reed Richards is one of the most important characters in Marvel, and people weren't upset at Pedro. But God forbid, Wendell Pierce is playing Perry White, one of the most unimportant people in DC Comics, and it sparked outrage in my comments. Very interesting, which goes back to the original comment. I wonder why. No one said anything when Ra's al Ghul was played by Liam Neeson. No one was screaming race swapping when Bane was played by Tom Hardy. And again, no one said anything about Thunderball being race swapped. But Perry White, oh, anger was definitely present with Perry White.
John, shut the fuck up. You sound like an idiot. You don't sound like you are an idiot for posting something like this. And I know I have my times where I'm being satirical and things like that, but you could tell that this man meant everything he said because of the stuff he said about Supergirl the other day. And I have my times of being satirical. The other day I posted a video about how nobody knows Lobo, when obviously that's not true. I have something in there having a disclaimer, but you mean what you say, just like I'm meaning what I say. And I don't know how much this means, but I am very glad Starscream is exposing you for the person that you are. And I've been told that you've been exposed for the type of person you are. I'm just glad that he's amplifying it, because everything you're saying right now sounds like something Nerdrotic would say. And we all know Nerdrotic is the worst place to get information ever. You're getting flamed online. Like, you have people in your comment section saying the worst things possible of how you should have just been quiet. I don't condone saying this, but I understand where this person is coming from. And the fact that you said, what does Falcon have to do with this, shows exactly what kind of person you are. And I'm not about to say it on this app, but everybody that is watching this video, they understand what I'm insinuating. You're an idiot, among other things. So yeah, like I said, I'm very glad you're getting grilled online. This is what coming together as a comic book community means. Getting the people that don't know what they're talking about out.
Man. Like, I mean, why are we not surprised, right? Every single time when, there's a character that, people like, people grew up with so many different types of superhero characters, right? And then the moment there's a race swap or something happened to the character, they're like, whoa, Captain America can't be black, even though the first Captain America wasn't black, right? And they're also hating on Sam Wilson because they're saying that he's not really an embodiment of who Captain America is. He's not really an important character. When that's Marvel's fault. Marvel hasn't even developed his character enough, right? Then the Brave New World movie, that was a good movie, but to me, it felt like more of a Hulk 2. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like a Hulk movie, but just somehow they made it into a Captain America movie. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why they did that, but I mean, bro, Um, and it's just so annoying how like, and same thing with the Lego Ninjago. Like, bro, like, why do people? Why are people? First of all, that's another thing too. Is the fact that people are so obsessed with race so much that like it pisses them off when they see a certain character that's not white black, you know, like when they change the race or something like that. And I agree with most of the people who said this in the video, that if it doesn't affect who their cultural background or who they are, then I don't think it matters. Like Miles Morales, you know, he's Spider-Man. Like when people say Spider-Man, they usually think of Peter Parker, right? But it's like, even then, right, I can make a valid point, right? When people say like let me think of a character like um okay, I'm gonna just use Spider-Man, right? When people say the name Spider-Man, they literally say the actual superhero's name. Like they say the name of the superhero. So if you can say a superhero's name, then that means that character can definitely be race swapped. Definitely, it can, right? Because usually, like when people say Green Lantern, they don't say Hal Jordan. They say Green Lantern, and Green Lantern can be like basically meant for every single Green Lantern that is. And there's like animals who are Green Lanterns, like that. You know, you see what I'm saying? Like the Flash, anybody can be the Flash, right? The Flash, that name, the Flash, that has every single person that's the Flash has the same title as the Flash, the name the Flash. So characters like that can be race swapped, right? Because you're not saying the actual name. Like Batman, anyone can be Batman. Well, that might be a stretch, but I'm just saying, like, the name holds, like, the name does not hold like like this high value where, oh yeah, okay, Batman can't be black because, you know, he just can't be black. I mean, well, see, Batman's upbringing about growing up rich might play a effect of why he can't be black, right? Because, you know, he grew up rich and all that. But I mean, that's still kind of stupid to say, because that's basically me saying that what black people can't grow up rich. But anyways, that's besides the point. Um, but it's just so annoying how people, and the fact that this guy really said that, oh, that's such a poor race swap, when my childhood and everybody's childhood Green Lantern was John Stewart. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, I love Hal Jordan as well. Right? I'm not really tapped into the comic spaces as much. I do like sitting there and like actually tapping into it, like, and, you know, listening to them, but I'm not really tapped into like the newer Green Lanterns and like the stuff like that. But it's like the fact that you're so uneducated that you can't even go back and like you can't even look at the Justice League, the old ones, and see that bro was the main Green Lantern. It's just crazy to me, bro. It's crazy to me. And first of all, that's God tier casting. That's number one. That's God tier casting. You know what I'm saying? And I remember seeing people I remember seeing people saying that Miles Morales at one point can't be Spider-Man because he's black. I'm like, bro, what? I was generally confused because I'm like, bro, like at this point, this is just blatant racism, and I'm pretty sure that's like a big theme in the comic book space. How like people don't like seeing black characters as much because for some reason it just annoys them. I don't know why. I mean, well, we do because they're racist, but I just don't get it, right? Like, why do people care so much about a character's race? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It really don't. And you know, even the Kratos too. Like, people want to think Kratos is white because his skin is white, right? But at the end of the day, even if Kratos did play a black or white character, no one would care because you wouldn't even see his skin color anyways. You wouldn't even see it. Bro, I just don't get it, bro. This is such a poor argument. Like, even look at Iron Man, right? Rhodey. I know Rhodey has his own name, War Machine, right? But still, he can still be Iron Man. He can still be classified as Iron Man because the name Iron Man does not, like, it's not one race. It's not a one race thing. It's just a name that somebody can take the mantle of. You know what I'm saying? Like a hot guy, right? Green Arrow. Like, there's so many characters that you can just take that name and give it to somebody else, and it would still work perfectly fine. It would not affect nobody. It won't affect nobody. It literally won't. But the problem is, people just don't want to see other characters a certain race, right? If I saw Batman Black, I actually wouldn't care. Now it would be a little weird because I grew up with Batman being white, but I wouldn't get mad. You know, I can understand. It's just familiarity. You know what I'm saying? If I saw Batman as a Chinese Asian guy, I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? It'll be weird, but I'm not gonna be like, oh, he can't be Chinese though, or Asian, whatever. I won't be like, oh no, he can't be that character. But it just wouldn't make sense though, because Batman's culture and his background kind of. I mean, but see, that's the thing. That's why the multiverse exists. There could be Asian Batman out there, but I mean, that's a whole conversation for a whole nother time. Like, if they adapted that in the comics, then I guess, right? But that's a whole nother story. But I just think these topics are just pretty stupid to me. It's really it's just low IQ, uneducated, dumb takes, and like they care too much about the most stupidest things. Like, bro, at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. These are fictional characters. And people care so much. Now, don't get me wrong. I think people should care about the comic book space because, you know, and I want to keep, you know, this is Marvel and DC is like one of the best things that happen, you know, superheroes and stuff like that. But the fact that people go to this level to really hate on a race, it's just insane. It's insane. But that's all I wanted to say. Oh, you guys like to stay pure, Dami. Appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. Peace out.